And I started recording too.
So,
And
yeah.
Deepak, you don't have access to Teams, right?
No.
Okay, let me share your logins.
Okay. Okay, team. So, did you guys like get what we covered yesterday? I think recap and the architecture we have covered, then Docker, building the Docker image, and then pushing to ECR, all of those flow. Are you guys clear with that flow? Yes, no.
Yes, Deepak.
Kubernetes, like high level Kubernetes, how it works. I think we have done. I believe if possible, you guys can create that free tier AWS account. Otherwise, you will not be able to perform this whatever activity we are doing, and it will not give you much more practical experience. So you guys can go and create free tier account. So I have created a Kubernetes cluster. Uh, uh, like it takes a lot of time, so I have created this prior. So now I am in the same flow which I discussed yesterday, like how we can do this EKS, and all of those things, the script. So currently, if you see, if I do kubectl get nodes, so here you can see I will get this nodes. This is the worker node. This is the same worker node which you will find in the compute section of this. If I search the ID, look, this is the same virtual machine ID here. So the concept which I wait,
So do we have a recording session for yesterday?
yesterday recording, yeah, I think we have. Wait, let me share Excali draw. Let me know my screen is visible. So this is what we were following. So this is the two worker node which got created in my AWS account. If you see carefully here, this is the same worker node which got provisioned. That desired capacity, if you do one, so it will provision one VM. If you do two, then it will provision two VM. So this same VM you can like virtual machine you can see from here also. Uh, Look here, and you can find the tag ones. Like it is EKS managed nodes. You can see from here. Okay. So till then, like this is the Kubernetes working working. The cluster is up. Now here comes the demo. So currently this application is like I just got the code, but I have I think walk you through this Docker file which we have created. I need to refactor it a bit more because I just got the code. Uh, but I will give you a walkthrough like how this goes into deployment and all of those things using CI/CD, using GitHub Action. Okay. A base code for separate application is done. We'll share the assignment like what is this like GitHub action. So let me show you where you can find. So this like any project you can go and you can just come here like this is one of my repository, backend repository. Similarly, you can create your own repository by going here and then just go here and create repository and upload your code there. You can come here and create your repository, and then I believe GitHub everyone knows But once you create this, you have this certain like this kind of panel. In this panel, every GitHub repository, you can just go here and GitHub there's an action button is here. So you can come here and click. But in GitHub Action, basically, you need to create a workflows. Now, let me show you how you create your workflow. So this is a sample workflow which I have created for one of the application. The similar workflow we will be creating for this banking application like JPMC bank application. So how you learn this, how you get to know like what all configuration you need to put. So if you see basically how this thing work is now there is there are certain things like in GitHub you push, there are certain events when you push, when you merge, when you do some changes, so all of those event by default like this GitHub action captures. So on the basis of that, on which branch all of this option you can do. And I believe you just have to go here and GitHub action workflows, you can just go and search, manually run. So there are flows, events that you can see and watch. I think this is nothing but a check on run workflow command. Manual run. Let's create a simple. So this is one of the simple flow which you can try and start testing. Run, rerun workflow. Like just go here. Currently here I am basically running this as a manual. So let's start with simple. So how this thing work is that you basically, if you see carefully here, I'm just variabilize this all of those things, this option. So how you got to know when I push this command, basically how you create workflow is that you just have to, whenever you create a new project now, you need to create a uh, .github kind of directory, and then under those uh, you need to create a workflow kind of directory, and then there is a workflow you can create in YAML syntax. So that's how, if you put any workflow inside .github and then workflow, so this GitHub action automatically scans that out and it will register in their workflow. So you can just come here and see workflow. So this whole workflow getting registered in my GitHub action slot. So if I do click this and then run workflow, so here you can see there is a branch section I got. This is same thing. Basically, what I am telling to take input. For input branch, select the branch to build the form. This is the same thing you will get. Select the branch to build the input form. So basically, this is the label which I am printing, and I am defining the description here. And then required, this is the must thing you need to do. By default, I am taking main, and then choice parameter I am doing. Basically, there are a lot of branches in this code base. If I go here, you can see there are a lot of, see here, there are a lot of branches. So what I have given, I have hard coded that only this all of these branches can go and get deployed. So this is nothing but an option I have created. Owner accept workflow reference. So there are a lot of options which you get from workflow. Manual workflow run, manual workflow. Where this GitHub action. So this is how you create, and then the next thing is what I am doing here is that I select a ECR repository. So if you see here, I have basically hard coded this thing. Similar, like there are multiple inputs you can take. So similarly, the branch, then ECR repository. Uh, Previously, like yesterday, what I was doing is that I was doing this thing manually, like building Docker image locally and then pushing to ECR. But this is how you automate. So uh, you can basically like you can define your backend should go here and your front end should go in which repository. All of those options you can create here. It's just variabilizing thing and then choosing the whatever option you want to do or for whatever branches you want to do and which ECR repository you want to build and then push your artifact or the Docker image. So this is that one. So let's take a testing prod. So basically I have selected this branch and by default I have given one, but you can choose to create multiple. This is nothing but a list. So that's how you provide multiple list of your ECR repositories. Then what is the next step? If you like yesterday, I have covered like manual step. The same step, what we are doing, we are automating that step here. So the first thing in GitHub Action, what you do is that you create a job and then deploy, then run on. So basically here, by default, you can, if I see here, so this is nothing but a GitHub Action infrastructure. By default, they manages a lot of running virtual machine in their infrastructure. If this infrastructure like this runner you want to manage in your own AWS environment, you can configure that. But there is a configuration you have to do. But by currently what we are going with this flow. So when you are specifying this means you are specifying or requesting with this GitHub that dynamically provision me a Ubuntu Linux system, and then you are putting an environment variable named AWS config. I will let you know why I have done this. Then what is so how you create any CI/CD pipeline is that you create a multiple steps. So the first step to do any CI/CD is that you first check out your code base. Then you perform some operation on that. Like you can perform scanning of your credential using Git. So for that, what GitHub is quite simple. You can just come here in marketplace and you can specify what step you want in your environment. So if you do checkout, so they have created plugins for that. So if you go here, you don't have to do much thing, but you just have to go through the repository and this documentation to refer, like tweak whatever things you want to do, whatever things you want to achieve. Like if you want to do GitHub clone using token base, so this is how you do your first step. Use this plugin, and then with you provide the either the repository and then the repository should get cloned using this token, or there is another way you clone using SSH key. SSH key you provide and you submit your keys in uh, this public key in your GitHub, and then it will get authenticate behind the scene. So this step will do, but you need to configure in a way you want to do this thing. So currently how I have configured, I am basically configured this thing in a very dynamic way. So basically providing the reference. So this will get populated dynamically. So this GitHub event, then input, then branch. See, this is nothing but the variable which get injected dynamically by GitHub here. So whatever branch I will choose here will get injected the URL and the base branch. All of those things will get populated dynamically. Whatever thing I will select here. So this is the first step. Suppose you have a fresh VM virtual machine of your Ubuntu. So to perform any uh, like CI check on that, the first step is to clone the code base. Now, what is the another step? Another step, there is much more complicated CI check you can perform, which I usually cover. I believe Ayush has shown you all of those complicated steps, but We'll show you much more complicated one, but this is a much more simple way so that you can understand it very well. So clone this, then what I am doing, I am basically configuring AWS credential with my environment of dynamically created Ubuntu system. So here, if you see access key, secret key, if you remember, we are exporting AWS access key, secret key in the previous session in my local system. So the way to do here is that to use AWS action uh, and also you can specify the version and then the argument. You can provide your credential hard coded here, but there is a chance to get leaked your credential. So the better way to do is using a environment variable. So there are two ways in GitHub Action how you populate your environment variable. You can come here in the settings and then you just come here. Uh, Developer setting. Okay. If I, so basically in the project, whatever repository you have created, you just have to come here in the settings and then you come below. This is the environment variable you can create. So this is AWS Cloud, AWS config I have done. So this is a reference. You can configure much more things here like test underscore test configure environment and then providing your secrets here, key and then value. What will be your key? The key will be this and the value will be the secret value of the CLI. Yesterday we have exported that AWS secret key and access key. So this thing you can provide here and then add, like let's say test, then add. Okay, this thing get populated and another secret key or access key you can provide and then paste that credential whatever you got from AWS and then you can add. So now this is the reference you give in your pipeline. So this is the same one environment variable I am injecting from here. So this is the reference I have given here. Uh, then the reference which I have provided, it will dynamically populate everything from here. AWS access key ID and secret key. So it will use this environment variable to populate this. It will retrieve from the secret and then uh, it will populate your access key secret key here. And this is I have a hard coded, but you can provide this thing dynamically or pick up that thing from environment variable too. So there is a secret kind of environment variable you can create, but you can also create another one. What you say like this AWS region. Let's say AWS region. This you can variabilize AP South 1 add. Then see here the difference is that you cannot see this thing, but you can see this thing because this is an environment variable of type secret, and this is an environment variable which is not of a type secret. That's why you can see here. But uh, to, uh, that's how you do, and that's how you populate everything in the runtime of your environment. Why you are doing this thing? Because you need to push your artifact or Docker image to your AWS respective AWS account. That's why you are doing this. So the next step is that you have configured your AWS like your virtual machine and populated your secret key access key. The next thing is that you log in. If you remember yesterday, I have covered this thing, ECR, believe ECR. The first thing you need to do is that to log in to ECR. This thing I have done through AWS CLI. Uh, if you go here, this is the step where you log in. But how you do this thing? You do this thing using this AWS login, ECR. So this is the step that how you log in. If you come here, you can find everything in their marketplace, like how to do this thing. You just have to Google uh, GitHub action login ECR. So it will give you this is the action which you can use to log in into ECR. You just have to click this. Everything plugin they have created and uploaded in their like open sourced it. You can just come here and read the documentation according to your use case, like how you want to log in. You can just come here and do login part from here. So we are currently following the simple use case. So this will do by default the login uh, of the ECR. So this is how you do. So if you do this, you will be getting logged into your ECR repository. Currently, you can tweak this thing according to your use case, what region you want to specify, and all of those command. Then, if your use case says that basically your organization says that you need to tag on the basis of your GitHub commit. So if you carefully see whenever you commit on GitHub, git log, there is a hash get created whenever you commit your code base. So basically what they are telling here is that GitHub SHA. So whenever your repository like this Docker image will get built, so it will build your image with the tag of using this 4 to 5 character from the initial start. So that's how you do. So it completely depend on your use case, how you want to configure this thing. So this is the another step which how you log in, and according to your use case, you will be using this to configure that thing. The another thing is that your code base is cloned. You have configured your AWS credential. You are logged in into your ECR. The another thing is that just build that image in your local, like wherever the machine is, and then push that code to your ECR. So if you carefully see here, this whole step is doing nothing but uh, building and then pushing to the ECR. So few more environment variable I have populated here. So this is nothing but the runner tag. I will show you like what is this. Uh, so this ECR basically it will pick up from the input of ECR registry what you put here. So the registry option whatever you choose here as an input option will get injected dynamically here, and you will get everything here. So if you are putting this thing here, so just it will just copy the runtime and then replace this thing here. Then another thing is that repository. So currently the repository here is that uh, JPMC bank. So you need to replace this. But currently I'm showing this in another code base where where I have created a ECR of name backend. So currently note this thing, the version 33. It will get populated and you will see 34 here in some time. So the another thing here is that what I am doing basically it's just a shell script what I am doing here run, then there is a back-to-back command. This command is doing nothing but printing something, but the same command if you remember what you want to do is that build Docker image, then this is nothing but the current directory wherever you are present in. So now I am basically tagging this thing and then pushing this thing to my ECR. This is the two command which I am doing. So let's go here and let's try to run this pipeline. So if you guys have any doubts so far, whatever thing I have explained, you guys can ask me the question. Anyone, any doubt? Hello.
Deepak, the process that we have learned right now, what is it for and what is the end goal of it?
And goal of it is that uh, if you remember yesterday, I have done everything manually. But currently, the what we want to achieve is that whenever you push something, you just have to click somewhere, like yes, like in GitHub action, and you will everything will get automated, and there is an image get created from your like code base, and then it will get pushed to your ECR. This will get automated. This is how CI pipeline will do automatically everything, whatever thing, the 3 4 step with what we have done manually, no? Because you cannot, there are a lot of things you have to, because this is currently you are managing only one repository, but in real life you will be managing, there are a lot of repositories will be there and a lot of microservices application will be there. So this whole step you cannot do manually. So this is what you want to automate. So this is the end goal. We want to automate this thing. Goes to ECR, then you publish this or deploy your application as a pod in Kubernetes cluster. So this is the end goal. So did you got this thing? Yeah, Rahul.
Thank you, Deepak, for the explanation. I'm just curious about one thing. How basically the approval done by the manager means in a production grade level, if any particular DevOps engineer run the pipeline and it need to be approved, right, from the manager
Yeah.
before
Yep,
jump into
yep.
the production. So how that configuration basically, can you just explain that scenario if possible?
So the
Because
first
as
thing
soon
is
as
that
we check out to the main, automatically it will be trigger the build, right, and proceed for the
yeah,
deployment, right?
there are 2 3 ways you can do. Either you automate this thing, like whenever there is a new commit, you just run the pipeline. There is another way. Whenever you commit, you don't start, but you do manually. So currently we are doing manually. But you can configure this thing on some event, like on push, on commit, on merge. You can do this. There is a documentation of GitHub action which you can refer. Currently, if you see, we are following this thing. Workflow dispatch on input. There is no merge, any option we have configured, but there is an option you can see here on events. On any event, you can do this thing or trigger any pipeline. This thing you can do on
And
real
also
life
we do
scenario.
not on particular branch, right?
Yeah. So on real life, no one, no, like not everyone will be having this permission to branch your code base on main branch or production branch. Only your manager will be having this thing, this permission to merge the code base. So when you merge the code base to trigger pipeline on production, this they will be having access. Not everyone will be having, or senior platform engineer will be having this thing. You can commit every like anytime, every time on another branches, and because you cannot run pipeline every time whenever there is new commit, because every day there are tens and hundred, like 10 to 20 commits will be there. So running that pipeline, some people do this thing, but uh, where- since here in this scenario we are like we are using GitHub runner action, they limit us with some runtime. You can configure this thing with your own runner, like your own virtual machine. You can plug in, and all of those things will get performed in your own virtual machine. So this thing you can do, but that's how in real life scenario you will, like only the higher authority will be having to push or trigger this on production.
Yes, that's the reason I asked you. And generally, after some release, manager will create a new branch, right? Or for that
Yeah.
particular tag, right? and all
Yep, yep.
the latest changes has been pushed to that particular branch, and then at the time of merge from that branch to the main, there needs the approval, and that should be run via the configuration part, right? In a YAML.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Also, this the pipeline which I have created, this will not just deploy like this is not the pipeline which will deploy something, but this will package your application and then push to ECR. But there is another flow of CD which will be there, which will deploy application on Kubernetes cluster. So
Just
let's
one question.
yeah.
Yeah, suppose we have created modules for the EKS or ECR or anything required infrastructure like IAM, EKS. Okay. So for CI/CD pipeline, right, you are using GitHub, right? So how it is connected with Terraform, GitHub, and AWS? So how it will take the module and how it will provision the infrastructure in AWS. Uh, how can you please
Currently
tell
we
me the connectivity? Yeah.
so Terraform is nothing but an infrastructure as a code.
Right, right.
So
But how
for
it is get to know that whether it is through GitHub or provisioning in the AWS, how it is interconnected? Any idea?
okay. uh, So let me simplify. So I believe we have gone to somewhere else. So let me clarify this thing. So Terraform, why you use Terraform? Now you want to automate the infrastructure provisioning part. It's an infrastructure as a code. So basically, let's say you have a requirement when you want to provision certain resources and want to make this thing identical in each environment. So that's why, and you want to automate this thing. You don't want you are going and using CLI and doing provisioning your resources manually, all of those things. You don't want to do because that's quite time taking. So what you create a Terraform module and you just deploy like whatever thing in Terraform you write code like whatever thing like you want to provision two EC2 instance, three EC2 instance, whatever thing. The same EC2 instance will get deployed here. The same EC2 instance will get deployed here or whatever resources in cloud you want to deploy. So if you want to do this thing, your requirement is that you will use this Terraform. You can also perform CI/CD for Terraform, but currently what we are doing, we are doing CI/CD for platform. Platform means there is a code base of backend, there is a code base of front end. We want to deploy this code base into Kubernetes cluster. So this is what we are doing. This CI/CD for Terraform also many people used to do, but I haven't seen much people doing this thing because it completely depend on your use case. Let's say your use case is that you want to dynamically plug everything. The one use case which I can think of is that currently, if you see here, if I let me show you. So this is 33th, and if you see here, ECR, this is 33th. Let me trigger this. So this is the same YAML I am triggering. So what I am doing is that I came here and chose the branch. Let's say testing prod. Let's say main branch, and then this by default I want to put this in. If I run this, so behind the scene, all of those steps will. Here you can see workflow run and successfully requested. So behind the scene, what it is doing, it is looking for a virtual machine of type Ubuntu, and in the GitHub infrastructure. So it will now, since I got the Ubuntu machine, it will start everything like cloning. Here you can see setup and then building, pushing. Yeah, so now it is see here how fast is this and how much time I took yesterday configuring everything. So now if in some time you will see that you will have latest code of your image will get pushed here in the ECR repository. So this is what we want to try to achieve this thing in the current scenario. This is your banking application. Currently, I am doing this for backend, but this is how we will do for this banking application. this front end Docker image, what we have, this backend, what we have, we will deploy this in EKS here. So for that, we want to do CI first. We need to push images in the ECR. So that's what I am showing you guys how to do it. Look here, 34. See here, it has done its task complete. Then pre-check, like all of thing is been done, like cleaning up process. So this thing is done. So that's how you do, you build any GitHub action pipeline here. So currently deployment is not happened, but we have automated this thing till here. Like we have pushed this thing to our repository, ECR repository. Now, what is the next thing? Next thing is the deployment part. So till here, like things are clear. We have automated till here. Someone was asking the question. Yeah, is your
Yeah, I'm clear. Yes,
are
yes,
you clear?
yes.
Okay, now we have done this thing. The next thing is the deployment part. How you do the deployment. So in Kubernetes, we have less time left, but let me give you a glimpse of how we will deploy this thing, how we will deploy like our application. The thing is that we have pushed our code base. Currently, I have pushed one thing, but similar repeat thing you can do for front end, and similarly you can do for back end. This we have completed till ECR. Now, what is the next step? The next step is that deployment part. How you deploy things in Kubernetes is that you need to create a manifest file to tell Kubernetes the configuration or the deployment of your backend. So if you see carefully here, how you pull images from your ECR is that if you see carefully here, JPMC Bank, there is a version got created here. So this is nothing but an artifact got created. This is nothing but a Docker image. Now you want to run this Docker image of your backend in your Kubernetes cluster. So I have created this backend configuration. Uh, so when you create, like you want to deploy this application in Kubernetes, now you need to provide the image. So whenever you deploy any like application in Kubernetes, the high level abstraction object is your deployment. And then basically this you don't have to remember this thing, but you can just go here in the Kubernetes deployment in Kubernetes. You can just go here and search for deployment. This is nothing but the high level abstraction which Kubernetes provides you to manage your application. So that's how this is how you do. So look here, you can just copy this thing and configure but the one thing is that you need to change the image here, image tag. This is the same thing I am doing here. This image tag, why I am giving this image tag? Because my Docker image I have uploaded in this ECR repository. That's why I have changed this thing. The rest thing is similarly, I have copied this thing from here only. So each individual thing has certain meaning. So I have like copied this thing as it is, but this thing has certain meaning. Like what is the meaning of this? This meaning is that the application this will be running with an instance of two mains. Whenever you deploy this application, it is my Kelly. Okay, whenever you deploy this banking application, so there will be two instance got created in your Kubernetes cluster. So this is the meaning of this replica mains. So and this is nothing but the match label, which basically I am providing a naming to this application, a metadata I am creating, so that yeah, you can basically there is a use of all of these metadata to track either your deployment or your application. You have to provide all of these labels, selector, match label. You have to provide this. And then the environment variable basically dynamically inject something to run your application. Whenever you run your application in local, the that's why at that point also you have to provide some environment variable, and then the resource constraint. So basically I am providing to run this application, please provide this much 512 millicore of CPU and 500 millicore of CPU and 5112 MB of RAM, and then I am limiting it to something, yeah, 1 B CPU and then 1 GB of RAM. If let's say this application or this pod will be getting a high level of traffic, like high traffic, and it will, if it exceed from this 1 GB and 1 millicore of CPU, then it will Kubernetes will dynamically kill this application and then try to provision a new pod. That's how Kubernetes work. That's how you control your request. That's how you utilize your uh, like resources in Kubernetes level. And this is nothing but a container port. This application will be running on some port. So that's what I have provided here. So this is a simple deployment file which I have provided here. Currently, this will not be running because I have not uploaded this thing. But I want to give you a glimpse, like that's how you write a manifest file. We can also try to deploy this thing to show you guys like how this thing get deployed. If you see here, kubectl get PO, this means Kubernetes like pods. Pods are the much more simpler thing, like application which are running. So I believe let's create a test nginx.yml yml here. This is the metadata will got created. Okay, here you can see nginx.yml cube kubectl create ns. NS means basically when you want to manage multiple environments, some people, few organization, how they deploy their uh, like production, non-productions. Few smaller startup, few organization manages their application. Like if they want to segregate their environment, they segregate in namespace level. But the best way is that you create different Kubernetes cluster. But let's say test environment I want to create. Okay, kubectl get namespace. The either you provide namespace or you can just do ns. This basically this will create a abstraction for you so that you can deploy your test application in another namespace. You can deploy your production application in another namespace, but not many people do this. Few organization do this, like use this namespace to deploy their like other like different microservices. Let's say you have payment a microservice which is running. You want to deploy in same Kubernetes cluster. You can basically create a payment service namespace and you can deploy all of your application of type payment service in that namespace. Let's create namespace, get namespace. So here you can see you will get a test namespace here, which got created 54 seconds ago. Let's deploy kubectl apply -f nginx, then -n. I am basically specifying to deploy this in my namespace test. Enter. So kubectl get oh, fnn fnn test. See here, it has deployed three application of nginx because I have mentioned here a replica of 3 here. Also the deployment, this deployment name is Nginx deployment. You can also view from here. kubectl get deploy. Okay, you need to specify hyphen and test. I have not mentioned the names with that's why. So basically what it you can see here Nginx deployment. Similarly, you can see here Nginx deployment of label Nginx and replica S3 and type here review. And then basically this is the image. This is the same thing I have done here. Where you can see here, but this image is the image you have generated through CI/CD pipeline. The CI which we have done, and this image got pushed to our ECR repository. This you have to replace. And this similarly, this front end, you have to replace this thing. And container port basically, the front end will get exposed to 80 port. Uh, so this port mapping I have done here. This is the how you do like how you create deployment and how you basically do the mapping of your ECR with the deployment manifest. So till here, like, are we on the same page? Did you guys got? Currently, it's in pending state. In some time, it will be in running state. I believe there are some issue. kubectl get logs fnf. Okay, fnn test. kubectl get fnn test. Okay, it has destroyed. But like I will debug this thing and we'll get to know like I believe there's connectivity issue is built there. But that's how you deploy your application. The CI flow and the CD flow. The next step is that we have built a CI pipeline here. So I have built a very minimalistic CI pipeline, but this will be much more complex CI pipeline. Like many organization follows, like it also completely depend on the use case, how your organization follow CI/CD pipeline. Like this thing get changed, like there are I have done a very simple, but there is a few Git leaks, checks, all of those things. I believe Git leaks check is also there. You can just go here and let's test Git leak, GitHub action. So let's say you have pushed your code base in your repository, but there is a credentials got leaked. You have by default your developer by mistake they have pushed some repository like credential. So this is how this git leak will help you to scan this out and it will tell you like if there is any like credential got committed or not. That here you can see this will provide you the holistic view of like is there any credential in this whole code base or not. So this will scan this out. And another there is a tree is also there with through which you can scan uh, and you can basically scan your container image, whatever image this what you are pushing now. You can just scan this out and you can check if developer has built this Docker file which contains few vulnerabilities or not. So all of those things you can do, and it completely depend on the organization what they want to achieve. That's how you do, and that's how you deploy your application. There is much more complex thing in Kubernetes, like how you do the mapping of your ingress. That thing will cover later on. Like this thing I haven't explained, like what are services, but this thing will cover tomorrow. Then how to expose your application. uh, then how to deploy your this load balancer mapping, and then how to access your application from like whatever browser, or you can just access your application from here. How to expose this thing, that mapping we can cover tomorrow. Like till this, are you guys? Did you guys got like how we do CI/CD so far? Hello.
Understood the process, Deepak, but I think we need to dig some more deeper into how we can write that CI/CD pipeline. So
Yes.
that
Yes. Yes.
what is the main task, I believe.
Yes, yes, because on seeing this thing will not be much more helpful, but the concept will be helpful because the same thing you will be doing, the same thing you will be creating, but you need to create first one or two pipeline, simple pipeline. It's not very much complex pipeline, but create just few pipeline. It is not that much difficult, but if you do some basic thing, you will get to know like everything. There is a plugin already available. You just need to be pass certain argument according to your requirement. So this is what the GitHub action. But holistically, the concept wise, this is how you do at a high level. And
Understood.
conceptually, this is only the concept. There are much more deeper concept. I haven't gone because that will, I believe, you guys will be blown away if I throw everything to you. You guys will have to practice things. That's why, otherwise, it will not. You guys will not be able to like catch those things in a very aggressive way. So that's why I have put this thing very simple.
Got it. So as to replace Jenkins CI/CD pipeline, we have used this GitHub Actions, right?
Yeah, the fundamentals of every CI/CD tool is very much similar. There is a plugin already available. So behind the scene, what they are doing the same. They are firing same command, Docker command, and all of those command, Git clone command. But there is an abstraction they have created. So the way to
Got
do that thing in Jenkins and in GitHub Action is very different, but fundamentally everything is similar. Behind the scene, what they are utilizing is same.
in real world, generally majority of the companies use this workflow, or do they ask us to do it in Jenkins?
No, it completely depend on the organization, what they want to, like where they want to do their CI/CD. Because in Jenkins, if you are into GitHub Action, no, you need to pay for some runtime for enterprise level. But when you are managing Jenkins, you have to pay just for your virtual machine, because and everything you need to manage you like everything you will be managing. But it's
Okay,
just a factor of cost, like how where they want to invest the organization.
got it.
GitHub
Deepak,
Action, but
we getting
yeah,
the access of this report.
access of this repo. Yeah, I will. I just got the code base. I will push and will share this thing with you guys. Like I will make it public. We'll share with you also a well formatted GitHub Action assignment we will give you guys, so that you can go through that and at least create one pipeline with yourself. If you guys are facing some challenges, we'll come and we'll discuss this.
Tomorrow we do have a session, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, till here, anyone has any doubt? Like, okay, anything which is not clear or everything is clear? Okay, I think everything is clear. I'm expecting. Okay. Okay, then we can wrap this call up, and we'll connect tomorrow and we'll share few assignment with you guys so that you can start working on, and we can do
Thank you. Thank you.
we can proceed with next on the next section. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks guys. Bye everyone.